the third G20 Tourism Working Group meeting at the beautiful location of Srinagar. Today we have with us in the press briefing Union Minister for Tourism, Culture and Donaire, Shri G. Kishan Reddy, Union Minister of State, Independent Charge for Ministry of Science and Technology, MOS, PMO, Personnel, Public Grievances, Pensions, Atomic Energy and Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh, G20 Sherpa Shri Amitabh Kant, G20 Chief Coordinator Shri Harshvardhan Shingla, and Secretary Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, Shri Apurva Chandra. I welcome you all, sirs. So today we began our meeting with a side event on film tourism. We also have several other interesting events lined up in the coming 2 days.
A G20 presidency is largely dependent, to my mind, on three things. Firstly, the political and the development narrative which we set out as the leader of G20 this year, number one. Number two, what are our priorities for G20? And number three is, how do we execute the G20? And let me dwell a little bit on all three of them. First and foremost, in India's case, the G20 is being held at a time when there are 4 emerging markets, one after another, who will hold the G20 presidency. Last year was Indonesia, this year is India, next year will be Brazil, and after that will be South Africa. So 4 emerging markets, one after another, holding G20 presidency. Secondly, the leader of G20 is the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. He is a democratically elected Prime Minister for the second time, whose credit rating is still at record high level. And secondly is the development narrative. And the development narrative is that we are the 5th largest economy. We are growing at very high rates of about close to 7%. During the last 7-8 years, we've done some remarkable work in development. We've done a huge amount of digital transformation. We do about 11x fast payment, real-time fast payments on mobiles, 11x of what America and Europe does. We do 4x of what China does. We've built about 40 million houses. 40 million houses is like building a house for every single Australian. That's like making a complete Australia. We've provided toilet connection to over about 110 million Indians, which is like providing toilet connection to every single person living in Germany. And we provided piped water connection to 243 million Indians, which is like providing a water connection to every single person in Brazil. During the COVID period, we've done about close to 2.5 billion COVID vaccination, which is about 6x the population of United States and Europe together, which was totally paperless, cashless, digital, all digital work. And we've done 55,000 kilometers of road. 55,000 kilometers of road is like making 1.5 times the diameter of the earth. That is the kind of development work which India has done.
I think my first thought is that the very fact that we are holding it in Srinagar, in Jammu and Kashmir, is itself an achievement of sorts. The content of it comes later. And I'm sure the delegates coming from other places would be able to falsify the kind of perception or narrative which is sought to be created either by certain vested interests on the one hand, or some other self-styled cynics, critics, or self-righteous commentators. You've seen for yourself, and this is an opportunity for you to see with your own eyes what it's all about. Jammu Kashmir has moved on. The common man has moved on. And I would say the common man walking on the streets of Srinagar wants to be a part of the development journey led by Prime Minister Modi. He's seen 2 generations of Kashmiris being sacrificed at the altar of Pak-sponsored terrorism. He's no longer in a mood to succumb to that. And let's not forget, and we owe it also, that the youth of Kashmir is highly aspirational. Sometimes I tend to think that the Kashmiri youth, the youth of Jammu and Kashmir, sometimes is much more aspirational than his counterparts in the rest of the countries. I have an opportunity to travel across 2-3 states of the country every week. The youth here is more aspirational, highly forward-looking, also well-informed, and therefore he can see the enormous avenues unfolding across the country under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi in the last 9 years. He doesn't want to miss the bus. Amitabh was just now referring to, we are now startup number 3 in the world. It's not a small achievement. We just had about 300 startups when we started in 2014. Today we are close to 1 lakh. We have crossed 97,000. We are 115 unicorns, out of which almost 60 unicorns have a founder or co-founder as a woman. In Global Innovation Index, we were standing at 81. We have jumped 41 steps up. We are now 40. And I think more than any youth anywhere else, it is the youth in Jammu and Kashmir who is awakened to this fact. We are now a part of a global journey and he doesn't wish to miss it. I think it's very evident before all of you. I, like many of you, have been a frequent visitor here, have been part of this soil.
We are also working with all the state governments in India. Every ministry, they have taken some responsibility for tourism encouragement and develop infrastructure activity to encourage foreign tourists and domestic tourists. And also, Government of India committed to working with all the G20 countries, invited countries, and all international organizations to promote sustainable tourism and sustainable practice. Friends, just now Jitendra Singh ji told, after Corona, in India, there is a tremendous response for domestic tourism, especially spiritual tourism. And also, if we take Srinagar city, in March 2022, Srinagar airport, monthly average 90 flights per day. 90 flights per day from Srinagar. The tourist flights, maximum tourist flights are operated. In Leh, 2020, there is 74 flights, increased October 2022, around about 160 flights, 74 to 160 flights today we are running to Leh. And also Srinagar weekly gone up to 532 flights in the end of last year. In this year, we are expecting double tourists from foreign also, and in all states. We hope because Government of India, our idea is without private investments, we cannot become a world tourist destination. That's why we want to investments from globally and domestic. We also 100% FDI under leadership of the Narendra Modi ji. We are encouraging, and including Northeast states, hill area states, we are requesting the hospitality sector, our stakeholders, to come along with the state government and the Government of India ministries for establishment of the infrastructure to the tourists.
that, I think, will give many of the visitors, especially tourists who are coming from outside the state, an opportunity to witness the best of Srinagar, but also to be able to shop and to be able to look at some of the exquisite handicrafts and craftsmanship of Jammu and Kashmir in person. So from that perspective, I think as you go around the city, you will see some fairly substantial changes and very, very extensive preparation for the G20. And we've always felt that it's important for any G20 meeting in any part of our country to not only prepare for the meeting, but also to make the changes that will make those cities better environments with better amenities, better facilities. And G20 meetings take place with the minimum amount of inconvenience. And that's been the effort all through, including in Srinagar. And a very quick word on also one aspect of the vision of the Prime Minister to take G20 to the grassroots levels. As you heard, we have hosted meetings in 46 locations, but we intend to host it in every state and union territory of India, so 60 different locations. The whole idea is not to have the G20 just in the capital, but to take it across to different parts of our country. So everyone, every citizen of the country becomes a stakeholder, participant in the G20 process. In Jammu and Kashmir, there's been quite an effort. The Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and the regional and local governments have cooperated to hold several sessions, walkathons, cycling competitions, information rallies, model G20, thereby getting the message about the G20 and India's presidency of the G20 down to the level of the grassroots level. I think that is what we call through the Jan Bhagidari mode. And I think that has been a very great achievement, not only across the country, but also in particular in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And as the Honorable Ministers have both pointed out, and so as the Sherpa, there are going to be tangible benefits of bringing a meeting like the G20 tourism meeting to Jammu and Kashmir. Clearly, this is an important tourism destination. We expect 20 million tourists to visit Jammu and Kashmir in the year 2023. But the idea is to increase both the value in terms of ecotourism, film tourism, adventure tourism. And not only that, but also I think to increase the number of foreign tourists coming to Jammu and Kashmir. And that, I think, the attention that the G20 meeting will bring on this very beautiful and scenic part of our country with a lot of culture and civilization behind it, I think will be very, very successful. So my congratulations to our Ministry of Tourism for hosting an incredible event to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir.
And India is a young country. More than 50% of our population is below 30 years of age, and our youth have not seen Kashmir in films. But then that has changed in the past 2 years. The fact today is that the film policy of Kashmir was introduced in the year 1921, and more than 400 films have been shot now in Kashmir in the past 2 years, whether it is films, whether it is TV series, whether it is advertisements. And now, again, not just whether it is Bollywood, whether it is from Hyderabad, Chennai, from all parts of the country, people are flocking to Kashmir, and our youth will again be able to see the beauty of Kashmir. So we look forward to film tourism in this particular state, and that is what is attracting now tourists again in a big way. The Honorable Minister mentioned that the largest number of tourists visited Kashmir last year, and that is the impact of films. More and more tourists will be attracted, not just Indian tourists, which is happening now. More and more foreign tourists will be attracted. Kashmir has a lot to offer in terms of scenic locations, in terms of culture, in terms of food, and which all of you will be able to experience. And this is going to be the golden era for filming in Kashmir.